All right. Oops. Let's play the game. And potentially beat the game today. Turns out we had a surprise witness on our hands. The victim himself, the storyteller. Then again, nothing surprises me anymore. The secret behind Labyrinthia, the legendary fire, witches, magic, and finally, Vizela. The veil was just about to be lifted off of these mysteries once and for all. Okay everyone, it's high time we end this. Let's give Labyrinthia the fresh start it deserves and solve these mysteries. Yeah. Oh, okay. I've been meaning to talk about this for a day now. Oh, this is the epilogue. Oh. They're probably gonna do voice acting here. My computer has been making some noises. And recently I've been considering recording those noises so that people can hear those noises, but you know, it doesn't sound like a very nice noise. One way to combat that noise was to restart my computer. I can't technically tell where it's coming from, but it's either the graphics card or it's my liquid cooler with the radiator pump and everything like that. And this, when I inspect it, you know, like my ear to it, like I can't really tell. It doesn't seem like it's the graphics card because it sounds like a fan noise or some sort of mechanical noise. And when I looked at the graphics card fans, you know, they're not spinning. Or they'll like spin for a little bit and then they'll stop spinning. You know, I guess they don't need the cooling or whatever. But you know, the noise persists. So it's unlikely that it's the graphics card. So I decided that it was going to be my liquid cooler. So I bought a new one. And over the weekend, I was like, nah, I'm too lazy to install it. You know, I'll install it later. But on Saturday morning, the noise went away. And today is now Tuesday, and I have not heard the noise. And I'm confused. It's one of those really rare circumstances, or maybe even not even rare, maybe even common, where I don't do anything and my computer fixes itself. And it's confusing. And I don't know what to do. I still don't even know if it's a liquid cooler, but here we are. Anyways, that was a long tangent to say, I don't know. I don't quite know what to say. I am truly shocked to see the storyteller again, alive and well. It was unexpected by me too, as I did not plan to appear before you all again. I was convinced that you would all see the last of me at the parade. But this is the trial for your murder. You are alive. Yeah, see? No one was killed. So let's call this whole thing off and never have witch trials again. Whoa, Maya, take it easy. We're still in court, remember? But what's the point of this? The storyteller wasn't killed. Spella would never do anything to harm her dad.
Objection!
Only it was as simple as that to end this trial. However, it is not, Miss Faye. But Professor, search your memory, and you will know the reason why. The crime Miss Cantabella is accused of is not just murder. The purpose of the Witches' Court is to sentence the witches for what they are. Isn't that right, Mr. Storyteller? I fully intend to expose the true identity of Vizela. And this would not be possible without you, Mr. Storyteller, on the witness stand. I see. And so you assumed the role of an inquisitor just to lure me here. Be that as it may, the Inquisition still maintains that Espella Cantabella is the Great Witch Bazella. Dad. Been a long time, Espella. 4 years, in fact. You must have experienced many hardships living among the townsfolk. This daughter of mine never fits in with the others, no matter how hard she tries. No, it wasn't quite like that. There were people who supported me. Aunt Patty was very kind, and the customers who came to our bakery were nice to me. I'm happy to hear that. I wanted to watch over you ever since you left for the town, but in the end I failed to do so. I had no idea what was happening to you. I'm very sorry, Espella. Oh, Dad, you don't need to apologize to me for anything. It's me that owes you an apology. I was trying to hurt you. It was all my fault, not yours. There's no reason for you to blame yourself. Dad, I'm happy we got to talk. Bella. We're so busy writing everyone's stories that we stopped talking to each other. Before, it was different. You used to have time for me. Please forgive me. Why did it have to come to this? Mr. Storyteller, it's time to put everything in order now. Townsfolk and your daughter deserve to know the truth. The truth about yourself and the story. Yes, I suppose it is time I told you the truth. Your Honor? Yes, Mr. Storyteller. Let us begin. In this trial, I shall be judged. Understood. The witness shall testify. People of Labyrinthia who have gathered in this court, I will now tell you the true story. Many of you will certainly find it hard to believe and difficult to accept. Nevertheless, I ask you to please lend me an ear and listen with open mind. Espella, my dear daughter, I ask you to do the same, too. Although you know me as the Storyteller, I have one more identity. I am the president of Labrilum Inc. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This is not where I thought this was gonna go. And, oh no. This whole town is one of Labrilum's research facilities. It may be hard for you to comprehend. This land is rich in a very special substance which affects everyone who lives here. This substance enables the manipulation of people's minds, and that is what Labrilum is researching. This experiment began 10 years ago. The townsfolk all became test subjects. I don't understand. What does it all mean? Don't quite understand what I have just heard. I do not blame you. I suppose all the townsfolk are just as confused. Labyrinthia is an artificial town created entirely by me. But of course, as artificial as it may be, it is the reality for those that live here. For the past 10 years, I have been bringing the illusion to life by writing the story. I am lost for words. It feels as if the whole world has been turned on its head. Your Honor, it is certainly not an easy matter to grasp this new situation at once. Regardless, I suggest we hear more of what the witness has to say. Yes, I agree. Let's continue. The defense may begin the interrogation. Thank you, Your Honor. So what, are we in a dome? Like, how do they explain the invisible shades? How? Alright, I'm the president.
Hold it!
This is too much. I don't even know where to start. I'm kind of right there with you. Labrilum Inc. That's a name I have heard before. It is a global pharmaceutical company with headquarters in England. If my memory serves me right, it was founded by Arthur Cantabella. Indeed, that is my true name. Were you familiar with that, Mr. Wright? Sure, yeah, I've heard of Labrilum Inc., of course. You just got to England. Labrilum Inc. is known for developing a completely harmless anesthetic about 20 years ago. It is now widely used in hospitals all around the world. The company is also working on various other plant-derived sedatives revolutionizing medicine. Suppose I shouldn't be surprised by your vast knowledge, Mr. Layton. So, the alchemist was another member of the company then? It was just like, I'm gonna chill in the town?
Objection!
That's irrelevant. That fact is just based on the real world we're from, not Labyrinthia. The real world, Mr. Wright. Then what would you call the world we are in now? Do you think this is a fantasy? No, that's not quite what I meant. Mr. Wright, I do not mean to be so rude as to presume I know what thoughts are running through your head. However, Labyrinthia is certainly not a place within a book or in the past. Labyrinthia is part of the world we know. Huh? What? But how? How could a town like this exist in the real world? Do you think it's impossible? Why would that be? Are you saying that everyone would know about an unusual town like this if it existed? I'm just gonna say that there's a previous game that I played that would make the location of this particular town seem impossible. I'll throw that out there. It's something like that. Anyway, it would be on a map at least. No, I'm afraid that cannot be so. Huh? This town is not marked on any map. It doesn't officially exist. What do you mean? The answer is quite simple. The town on Labrilum's research facilities may be hard for you to comprehend.
Hold it!
Help me comprehend this. This whole town is a research facility. Yes, this whole area is a private property of Labrilum Inc. So they own all this land then. That is why Labyrinthia is not marked on any map, and people from the outside cannot enter. We have taken measures to ensure that this town is not noticed by local residents. What measures are you talking about? Consider the fact that magic is supposed to exist in this town. Perhaps special mechanisms that were used to create magic also serve to conceal Labyrinthia. There are limits to what magic the shades are capable of producing on their own, after all. So what, are we saying that this is Wakanda? You know? Like, come on. That is the case indeed. The magic in this town has been made feasible owing to the latest technology. Technology? Tricks? I cannot believe this. However, there is one question. There is no industry in Labyrinthia. How do you obtain necessary commodities? Very observant, are you? All commodities are regularly shipped in by the sea. A young man once made his way here on a freighter and took a spella out of the town. That was Carmen Accidenti, a friend of mine. See. But is something on this scale really possible? As you might suspect, it would be beyond the power of Labrilum Inc. to keep a facility this size a secret for so long. Labyrinthia is a project co-funded by the British government. Oh, okay. Ah, there we go. What? It's a government project? But what would be their stake in this? It's all because of my beliefs. His beliefs? By the way, yes, Your Honor, what is a research facility? I've never heard of anything like that before. Yes, that was careless of me. Naturally, you wouldn't know what it means. How should I explain? This whole town is my creation. That's what it was about. In other words, it's all your story. That makes it all clear. Wing and a miss, Your Honor. Getting back to the topic. There is an important reason why we have chosen to build such a facility here. Explaining the invisible stage? Technological wonders. Okay, how did you get all here then? Why did we see us being drawn into the book? Yeah, I'm kind of there too. This is gonna be one of those, like, it's supposed to be grounded in reality, but it's not actually. This is one of those scenarios right now where I'm not surprised in the sense of like, oh my goodness, I never saw this coming. You know, like, this is crazy. I'm surprised in the sense of, oh my goodness, I never saw this crazy. I never saw this coming. This is crazy. And it's also the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard, even for a Layton game. Like, I feel like they had a good thing going, and then we get here. This land is very rich with the substance, which affects people who live there. Special substance? What does it actually do? This area has been isolated since ancient times, developing its own unique culture. There are underground ruins on the verge of the town. We found writings there, presumably left by the natives of this land. A bell that was supposed to be there was missing. Though you have seen the ruins, I suspected that you would find them. And perhaps you have also noticed that everyone who lives here has a very peculiar condition. Peculiar condition, you say? I can't just sit here quietly like a patient old man when you're saying such things. What kind of condition is it? You have every right to know. This condition makes people fall unconscious upon the sound of a certain metal being struck. Metal? What kind of metal? Pure silver. And so, there is not a single object made of silver in Labyrinthia. Now that I think of it, that's true. Imagine what a disaster a fancy dinner would be if everyone fainted when they used silver cutlery. This condition is an integral part of magic. How so? All inhabitants of Eldritch Woods carry small silver bells. I see now. Shades ring the bells when they need to create the illusion of magic. Everyone present falls unconscious, and the shades set to their work. Oh, look at where the shade's hand was. What? What? It's the secret of the time-stealing magic Darklaw told us about. Now that they mention it, Kira had a small bell with her when we saw her back at the marketplace. We have been researching this condition at Labyrinth Inc., and finally we've discovered its cause. It was the groundwater. Water caused it? The groundwater contains a certain unique substance found in the soil in this area. Look, so if you drink that water, you get this silver allergy thing. But of course we've been drinking it. It's impossible to live without water. Of Of course, that's why everyone who lives here has that condition. Oh dear. You needn't worry, this condition is harmless, especially as silver is unknown to the townsfolk. Something's still not quite right, though. If the sound of silver bells makes people pass out, why don't the shades pass out too? Although the effect of the substance in the groundwater is powerful, it doesn't last long. The condition will vanish after a day or so without drinking that water. Does that make any sense? You know, like, oh, there's this substance that's in your drinking water, and as like, if you stop drinking water for 2 days, let me start over. There's this substance in your drinking water, and if you hear silver ring, like if someone hits a piece of silver and it makes a noise, you will fall unconscious. Okay, that in of itself is kind of crazy. But then you're saying that this is just a temporary thing. If you stop drinking water for a day or two, then you won't have this issue anymore? It just goes away? Is that even, like, medically possible to have a condition that's distributed by water that makes you pass out via sound that is, like, temporary? I'm just, like, how much more crazy can this get? Honestly. That's convenient. That substance's effects aren't limited to humans. It can also affect plants to a large extent, or a great extent. Plants are affected by it. Our research was focused on the plants rather than humans. Substance enables the manipulation of people's minds, and that is what Labrilum is researching.
Hold it!
Sounds really scary. Just what is this about? Substance enters the groundwater, affecting organisms that consume it. People who drink it daily acquire that odd condition. They fall unconscious upon hearing the sound of silver metal. Yes, although the substance in the groundwater also has a tremendous effect on plants. Wild flowers in this area contain a certain poison. Upon my beard. Poison? This poison doesn't harm the body. It has the effect of manipulating the mind. So it brainwashes people. I've been writing the story for 10 years. The title of the story is Historia Labyrinthia. The ink I used to write it was made from those plants. Oh, Nick, do you remember how funny the ink smelled? That was the gas released when the ink evaporates. And that's where the trick is. What? Those that inhale the gas become extremely susceptible to suggestion. I mean brainwashing. They will believe anything they are told or anything they read, however strange or unrealistic. It will be imprinted into their minds as the truth. That was the true purpose of the parades. Okay, but ink dries faster than you can hand these out. You know? You're like, I don't get it. Remember part Layton game. It's the game is like 30% court battles, 10% shenanigans, and 60% Layton stuff, I guess. Like, honestly, what the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? It was done so that everyone would be in a state of hypnosis. Indeed. The creation of a fully controlled town with the inhabitants subject to long-term hypnosis. That was one of the topics of our research. And the story that is written in the Historia Labyrinthia. You could call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, realized through the Shade's work and the hypnotic effect of the ink vapors. Is that how it was all this time? Labyrinthe used hypnosis to control all these people. I cannot believe that the government was supporting that. Experiment began 10 years ago. The townsfolk all became test subjects.
Hold it!
Of their own free will? All the people subjected to this experiment have been living here all this time. No, we started with just a few people, gradually getting more and more. I must say that I'm afraid of what the answer to this question might be, but where did these people come from? You haven't resorted to abduction by any chance, have you? Of course not. Every test subject signed a contract with Labyrinth. A contract to have their memories erased and be used like pawns in a story. How do you get a kid to sign that contract, There's some children here. The current inhabitants of this town have one thing in common. They were all dissatisfied with their lives and wanted to start anew, forgetting about their mistakes, forsaking unwanted identities. There are more people like that out there than you might think. They have all agreed to participate in our research. That's insane. It's not as unreasonable as you suggest. We give them a new identity, a chance to start their life again. In return, they subject themselves to hypnosis and live in this town as our test subjects. In order for this project to be possible, we suppress their memories of the past, including the memory of signing the contract. But ultimately, they are not aware of what is going on. Couldn't agree more. I've got no idea what's going on. Let me make this clear, Mr. Wright. We do not erase their memories, we suppress them. They will regain their memories of life before Labyrinthia, once their contract is over. So this place was uninhabited before you started this research 10 years ago. And you've managed to keep everyone in a state of hypnosis for 10 years straight. Can you really hypnotize someone for that long? I mean, 10 years is one heck of a long time. It was achieved through the distribution of the story during parades. The ink vapors have a powerful effect, but it wouldn't last 10 years, of course. With each parade, the effect was renewed. That's why the parades took place at regular intervals. That was the true purpose of that event. This is insane. Unbelievably insane. I've been born and raised here. It was a poor small town with no industry to speak of, that had fallen behind the times. Ever since I was a child, I had one friend that was especially close to me. He was a bright boy, curious about the world. His name was Newton Belduke. Or Newton Belduke. The alchemist. Though they were childhood friends, the plot thickens. He had always been interested in the unique natural features of this land. There was really nothing here, but to us, this was an exciting place worth exploring. And one day, we made an astonishing discovery on the outskirts of the town. We stumbled upon the entrance to the underground caverns, leading to the colossal ruins. Oh, look at that. Newton. This is so amazing. And the strange writing. I've never seen anything like it before. We found ancient writings in the ruins. Newton managed to decode some of them. According to our findings, a highly advanced culture had existed on the land where our little town was built. Some great calamity had befallen the natives and they migrated elsewhere. They believed that plants and water in the area were cursed by an entity they called the Great Witch Bazella. The natives sealed the curse within the ruins and left in search of a new home. That is all that we managed to decipher. Bazella's curse. It was sealed in the ruins, you say? Would that be the Bell of Ruin? Bell of Ruin. Oh, that's the bell from the bell tower. I wonder why it got an ominous name like that. Regrettably, we couldn't get any further information from the writings at that time. Needless to say, Newton and I were very excited by the discovery. I knew it. This place is special. It has some kind of mysterious power. If we could find out what that is, our humble town would become famous. You know what? I'm going to do that. I will unravel the mystery of this place. Where'd you get the money? So Newton began studying the indigenous plants and substances dissolved in the groundwater. On the other hand, I studied economics and management at the university in London. I dreamed of bringing prosperity to this poor, forgotten town. I wanted to change it for the better with my own hands. Meanwhile, Newton had succeeded at extracting a new anesthetic from the local plants. Was that the anesthetic which led to the foundation of labrilum? Yes, it was a huge success for Labrilum Inc., and before we knew it, we were making a fortune. We wanted the whole world to hear about our hometown. Alas, fate was not kind to us, as we never realized that dream. Everyone in our town had died. All the townspeople perished. Huh? What on earth happened to them? That does not matter anymore. We purchased the environs of our town, the mountains, the lake, the plains, everything. Then 10 years ago, having received financial support from the government, we started Project Labyrinthia. It was much smaller in the beginning. It started as no more than a village. Over the course of 10 years, it slowly grew into a town. The population increased as well. More people were signing the contract with Labrilum, slowly increasing the number of inhabitants, correct? Yes. They would sign the contract, be hypnotized and assigned a role, and then be introduced to the world of the story. I've spoken at length. Thank you for patiently listening to my tale. Bazella is the name of a witch from an ancient legend that we read about in the ruins. It is a fictional character. She does not exist. But then magic and witches. Magic is just an illusion, and there are no witches. Alright, so it was all fake. That doesn't make it much better. Why did you write a story where people get killed with magic and witches are thrown into the fire? You could have made it a peaceful, pleasant world where everyone would be happy. No, that was not possible. But why? This is a research facility after all. We're researching ways to completely control human beings. Test subjects need to be exposed to extreme situations, but we decided on a fantasy setting. We wouldn't have got funding from the government otherwise. In other words, we're running a business. Hey, Dante, thank you very much for the 23 months. But just what instructions do you give the people you hypnotize? You don't give each of them a full set of memories of their whole fictional life, do you? No, it's much more simple than that. We only give them two pieces of information. The first one, that they were born in this town, and the second was their new occupation. Then they fill in the gaps themselves without being aware of it. The human mind requires a consistent story of one's life. Which means, of course, that no Labyrinthian has memories from earlier than 10 years ago. No one has any memories from before they came to Labyrinthia. What are you saying? It's all one big lie. I am who I am. But can you remember your childhood? I can't. It's true, I can't remember even my parents. No way, I can't recall my own mother's face. As you can hear, no one can remember their real past. There are no exceptions. Wait a second, no exceptions? Smell a contradiction here. Seems Mr. Wright, too, has noticed it now. What are you talking about, Layton? Mr. Cantabella, you have testified that not a single citizen of this town remembers anything from more than 10 years ago. Yes, as that is the truth. Now that's a strange assertion, especially coming from you. What do you mean? There's one person in this town who remembers what happened more than 10 years ago. It cannot be, it is impossible. Must be merely imagining things now. That's right, please enlighten us all. Who is this person? It's the gato.
Take that!
Precisely, Mr. Wright. That person is none other than Espella Cantabella. What? That's impossible. It's true, Dad. I remember it clearly, as if it happened yesterday, the legendary fire. No, that's impossible. That's just your imagination, Espella. No, it's not. I couldn't remember it before, but it all came back to me because I'm Bezella. No, no, no. Bella, there are no witches. That fire was just a bad dream. The Inquisition would like to call Espella Cantabella to testify. What? Regardless of whether Miss Cantabella is Bezella or not. Her memories may contain valuable clues. So they may be so. No, wait. I don't agree to this. This trial is over, Your Honor.
Objection!
You seem to be forgetting something, Mr. Cantabella. Your story has ended. You're no longer in control. Hold on a second. I need to save. It's been a while. Alright, so here's one thing that I don't understand. Why is the storyteller being like, you know, no, you can't do this. This is like injustice. I demand that you stop. Why doesn't he just pick up a radio? I know he has a radio on him. And, you know, just say, all right, we have a code 416 over here. Everybody remembers. I need a sweep team to lock this place down. And, you know, you drug everybody, you get everybody to forget, and then you start all over again. And, you know, kick Layton and Phoenix and, you know, all the outsiders out. So another thing why I don't remember why he didn't do that either. Instead, he writes a story and knights come to life. So am I just to believe that the storyteller has shades that follow him at all times, and on the roof he had shades in those knight armor things, suits of armor, and they were just trying to kill Layton? Like, there's plot holes going on. There's a lot of plot holes going on, and I don't think this game has enough time to fill everything. You were gonna say that too? You would have said it's the storyteller, or Belduke. Belduke would have been one too. Hey, Congo. If code 426 happens, maybe they lose government funding and he gets in trouble. You must have read about the adventures of the second Layton game. Or 416. I mean, it's possible. I don't see why Carmen Accidenti escaped, and it's not like that we're paying much attention to that. He even got one of the people that lived in the town to escape. Arguably, more than one person escaped. There were shades. outside, like, yeah, that's another thing. Why were there shades on the in the outside world? I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure I saw witches flying around and casting spells and things like that in the outside world. I'm sure they're not going to touch on that either. You know, they were just like, oh no, we were just wilding out with the animation team. Pay no mind to that. It was just an exaggeration. You are merely one of the characters. And this is also why we will not cease seeking the truth until we find it. Defense, what is your opinion on this? Bella keeps insisting that she's the witch Bazella. As her attorney, I should refuse to let her speak to the court. But what's really important now is finding the truth, just as Layton said. There's only one way to proceed with this trial. And that's by questioning Miss Cantabella about her memories. In that case, the court summons Espella Cantabella as a witness. Attendants bring the accused to the witness stand. It could be a flesh of refining later ideas and logic and not enough time to fix earlier stuff or the drugs. If you're talking about like a game development wise, I can definitely see that as well. I think this happens a lot in any story out there where, you know, like sometimes you start a story. What is that noise? Sometimes you start a story and you have some ideas for the beginning, and as you progress through the story, you know, you can think of new ideas, or you can think of other cool and awesome things that you could do to the story and to the characters and various other aspects. And some of those ideas that you had in the beginning, maybe you're not interested in those anymore. Maybe you forgot about them because you're more excited about these other things. And so those like plot lines just kind of die off, and you know, other things happen. And by the time you get to the end and you start reviewing your work, you're like, oh crap, I forgot about all these things. Let's just you know, add a couple of sentences at the end to write it off, and then I still get to keep all the cool stuff that I added. And you know, not all stories out there are like that, of course. But there are certainly enough that make that, I wouldn't want to say a prevalent thing, but you know, something that has been seen with some amount of consistency. You know, even if it's only like 10% or less. Now, witness, testify about your memories of the legendary fire. Yes, my lord. I still think he should just, you know, call in a code 416, you know. What is code 4? Like, is that actually something? Maybe I should have called it Order 66. I was just a little girl then. It happened during the annual fire festival. Everyone was gathered in the town square for the fire festival, and I was watching them from the bell tower. Great Witch Bazella awoke within me and brought calamity upon the town. An enormous fire dragon appeared. I was trembling with fear, terrified by what had happened, what I had summoned. Witness, what you have told us wasn't a bad dream or a fairy tale, but what you actually experienced. Yes, it was. Like I have already said, I remember it very clearly. The heat from the fire, the smell of the smoke. Bella, what are you talking about? The defense may cross-examine the witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Was there really a huge fire that destroyed the town? And what about Bazella? Is she even real? The answers are in Espella's testimony. Come on, it's the gato. Once again, let me just skip to the end. I'm gonna save real quick. I can't save yet.
just a little girl.
Remember what age you were then? Not quite sure, but I think I was 6 or 7. How old are you now? 18 years old. That means those events did take place more than 10 years ago. It's very odd that you have memories that old, but perhaps you're mistaken about your age at the time.
Objection!
Your Honor, no one besides Espella has witnessed the legendary fire, which would mean that the incident occurred before Labyrinthia was created over 10 years ago. Yes, I suppose that makes sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. How many times do I need to tell you there are no witches, no magic? The legendary fire is just a story. This interrogation serves no purpose. Mr. Cantabella, the court asks you to be quiet during another witness's testimony unless you are asked to speak. Everyone was gathered in town square at the fire festival, and I was watching them from the bell tower.
Hold it!
Could you tell us a little more about this fire festival you were watching? Yes, it seems to be an ancient custom in this area. The townspeople make a fire offering to the Great Witch Bazella so she will not bring misfortunes upon them. A great fire is lit in the middle of the town square. The festival lasts all night long. That's correct. The festival takes place once every year. It is quite magnificent with all the townsfolk assembled in the square. Unless it is a counterfeit memory imprinted in our minds by you. No, this festival has been held here since before I was born. It appears to be a very old custom indeed. By the way, why were you in the bell tower in the first place? Huh? You know, you said everyone was at the town square. Why weren't you there? Can't remember. Probably went there because Bazella awoke within me. Despite having vivid memories of the fire, you do not remember much of anything else that occurred at that time. Yes. I was at the top of the bell tower, looking down at people in the town square. And the gato was there. Someone was with me there. Ah, that's right, it was Eve. Eve, her black cat, huh? Didn't think Eve was that old. Well then. Great Witch Bazella awoke within me and brought calamity upon the town.
Hold it!
That actually happened and her father didn't want anyone to know about it? Why did he integrate it into the story? I think he didn't know about Espella having these memories. Most likely because Espella didn't even remember that she had these memories. Do you remember casting a spell? I cannot remember.
Hang on!
You look upset, Mr. Cantabella. Pardon me, did you want something? I'd like to know what you think about Espella's last statement. My opinion about all this has not changed since the last time. All just a dream. Listen to me, Espella. You are not Bazella. There is no legendary fire. I read it in a Word Up magazine, with Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Ad, you have no idea how much I want to believe you, but I just can't. I remember what I saw and how it felt. The heat, the smoke. Magic doesn't exist. It belongs in fairy tales. There are no fire dragons either. Bella seems certain that she saw a fire dragon at the time. However, as long as we do not have any evidence to support or disprove this claim, we cannot make any progress. Do I have any relevant evidence? Anything that could demonstrate that the fire dragon Espella saw as a child was real. I can't even use a hint coin right now. I got nothing. I don't think there's anything I could use. I understand your choice to be cautious with your judgment, Mr. Wright. However, I must remind you that the only way to discover the whole truth, to bring to light the true nature of the dragon witnessed by the accused. He has a point there. Maybe I overlooked some clues in testimony. Arm ourselves to the teeth with evidence and give it another shot. Alright, but first we need more info. I'm gonna do some pressing. Continue your testimony. Let's save. This is the problem with the credibility system in this game. Is like now because I have 1 credibility, I have to save like any time before I make a decision. I definitely have nothing. There is nothing in here that talks about a fire dragon. An enormous fire dragon appeared.
Hold it!
Can you tell me more about that fire dragon? That monstrous image is still so vivid. It looked just like the one that attacked Dad this evening. I've done something terrible again. And you are sure that the fire dragon you saw more than 10 years ago and the one summoned this evening were exactly the same? Yes, they were definitely the same.
Hang on!
Something wrong, Mr. Cantabella. It's impossible. There's no such thing as magic. You never believed me, Dad. I don't know why you have to be like this. There was a time when things were different. Bella, what are you saying? Look at them. It's like a common argument between a teenager and a parent. Mr. Cantabella created this town. He knows better than anyone else that there is no magic here. Miss Cantabella, yes? Would you mind giving us more details of what you saw? Could I borrow a sheet of parchment and a pencil? I think it'll be better if I draw it. The request shall be granted. Bring parchment and a pencil for this witness immediately. Do they have pencils in this town? Didn't they have, like, quills or something? This is it. This is the fire dragon I saw that night. It's not bad. It's a pretty good rendering right there. Only caught a glimpse of it, but it was real. I must say, it does closely resemble the supposedly magical creature we witnessed this evening. It does indeed. This drawing shall be added to the evidence. This is a farce. What happened over a decade ago? Was the town really destroyed by a fire dragon? Discovering the truth about the dragon shall be our next objective. Witness, continue the testimony. Yes, my lord. Little girl, then it happened during the annual fire festival. So I present the picture of the dragon? Like, what? Why?
Hold it! Hang on!
Should've used a hint coin, huh? Too late now. This is gonna be really silly. Your Honor. What is it, defender? The defense will present evidence. Evidence? I suppose you mean evidence that will prove my daughter's memory of the dragon amount to nothing more than wild imagination. On the contrary, Pretty positive Espella did see the dragon. What? I thought you had more sense in you. Aren't we curious? Show us what you got.
Take that!
This is, of course, Espella's drawing of the dragon. This is... Why? 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 Impossible to draw a dragon with so much detail unless you've actually seen it. Indeed. And it looks very much like the fire dragon we saw this evening. It cannot be a mere coincidence. You cannot possibly use that drawing as evidence. And why not? Because she could have just drawn the dragon from this evening. Exactly. Dad, why don't you believe me? I saw that dragon when I was little. The town is my creation. I know everything about it, and I assure you there's no magic. If there's anyone who could tell you what's possible and what is not, it is me, the creator of Labyrinthia. Your overconfidence has clouded your judgment and is preventing you from seeing the truth. What do you mean? In order to see what is really there, you need to reject biased assumptions and keep an open mind. You are overlooking certain facts precisely because you are the creator of this town. Nothing short of insanity. Magic doesn't exist, and yet Espella says she saw a fire dragon. It seems like a contradiction, but perhaps it is not. Mr. Wright? Yes? The solution to this mystery is out there. We just need to find it. Do you suppose you know where it is? Magic doesn't exist. Espella saw a fire dragon. Where is the evidence? I'm gonna mark here. Sorry, YouTube folks.